Righto, so I'm playing here with all these window regulators and all the mechanisms on this car, and I'll tell you what, this particular car, these things have proved to be an absolute frustrating nightmare, all these regulators, because what I had to start with was just a whole bunch of parts for this car, unknown. We had some bits delivered up from Melbourne. Now, they've come out of different cars, these window regulators and mechanisms, different brackets, and we found out sort of through a lot of frustration, a lot of work, there's a lot of differences. They had a lot of changes in the charges, as in the internal, the bracketry, the sliders, the whole lot, to get these windows in these cars. It has absolutely been frustrating. It's taken me about 3 days just to work out what brackets go where. It's been a bloody nightmare, to be honest, and I've got it sussed now. But the issue then has been, once I've got all this side of it worked out, all the sliders in the car on these doors, they're quite involved. The tracks for the windows don't just run straight up and down. They run on an angle, which is even more frustrating because they have different bracketry. It's bent for a specific angle. Then they have other sliders, which I'll grab the torch and hopefully you can see with the camera. That's part of the slider which the glass slides up and down on, so you've got the front and the rear one. And they change, they're different. These brackets, they are different from one model to the next, but they do use these from one model to the next, which becomes even more frustrating. And to just, you know, be given a whole bunch of sort of mismatching parts and bracketry, and then try and make it all work in the car, you get confused because you don't know what's supposed to go where, and it's been an absolute frustrating few days. But I've finally got there, and now what I have to do, I've made this window reg work, slides up and down, but now what I have to do is pull it all out, put it on the bench, because I've got a lot of little bushes that I've had to come up with, if you like. I've had to improvise with those to make them, because we couldn't get them or never had them, and they're key to all where the window's positioned in the door. And so yeah, it's been frustrating, trust me, and that's an understatement. But I've got it sussed, and now I'm going to pull all this out, take it over onto the bench, and I'm going to get it all to work with the window. It's time, it's a fiddle around, but I guess you've got to look at the positives. It's actually now going to happen, whereas a couple of days ago I had no hope in hell of making any of this happen, because I just never had. I sort of had one of this part, one of that part, and then confusingly, to make it all work, when you don't know what you're supposed to have or not have, it becomes a real frustrating thing. But now it's different, I'm kind of there with it. And just to have the right bolts, and even down to the bracketry, like I said, it's very confusing, because from one model to the next, the brackets are different, but they will interchange. But then it becomes a whole other mission with your window, the way it's set up. But now we have matching sets for both sides after a lot of research, and kind of, you know, sitting there scratching your head and working it all out, and then trial fit, make sure it works. But I'm at that point now where I've done all that. So now, like I said, I want to pull this out onto the bench and go again with it. But to do that, I've got to... They're like a Meccano set, these things. They really are, the way they come apart. They're not simple. Probably a good thing once they're all in and set up, but yeah, they're not a 2-minute setup. They're not an easy thing to play with. But yeah, I'll get this one out. Bit by bit I'll pull him out. Just have an issue there with that bottom bracket, it's just catching. Put him to the side for the minute. Now I want to try and get this main regulator part out. tight fit. I said they're a bit of a mission, these things to play with. That's proven to be a real mission at the moment. If it's getting in the right spot, they don't give you much room, and that's that slider. Just jiggled him off. Now, get it out of the door. See there, they're not a 5-minute job. You just got to really, get into the mode of it all, take your time. But that's one of the sliders. That's one of the major issues because there's differences. So you'll see they have this little nylon wedge arrangement. That's for when the window slides up and down and it touches on the actual window regulator. But there's differences in these things. There's so many differences, which I'll point out later. And just to work out which one you're supposed to have and not was a real job. But I'm there now, so that's that one out. Now what I'll do is this next one out, I'll grab him out of the way, and then I can get this. I don't know. Like I said to you there, I think earlier, the bottom piece of this regulator or window support. I don't even know what the correct term is for them. They're completely different to what I'm used of on cars. But just trying to wind this one up a little bit, that reg, so it makes it a little bit more accessible for me. Right, so now, let me just fiddle around with this a little bit so I can get it out. Little by little, I've got to just jiggle him out. Nearly there. Alright, so that's got that bit off. That's the bottom of the window regulator, if you like. Now, what I have to do is take this slider off that piece. Like I said, they're a bit of a job. They're like a Meccano set, and when you start off, you kind of, you're a bit, I don't know, bamboozled if you like, because they're completely unique in their own way, the way they fit up these things. They're just a whole another thing. Very robust system when they're in. I think a very good, strong thing, and probably longevity. They're probably a real good thing, but very complicated to get right. So at the moment, I just need to get these two apart. Nearly there. So that's what that one is off, and that's the front slider. As you can see there, it's got its little wedge as well, same deal, but you have front and rear, and you've got left and right obviously. But as I said, there's differences. Now this is the other piece that I've just taken off those sliders. This is part of the reg, if you like. That's what I call it anyway. And there are differences in these from left to right, and different models, which I'll show you over on the bench in a minute. So go over there and have a look. But to get that to where I've got that at this moment has been one frustrating ordeal. Righto, so here we are, I'm back on the bench with this one. Now, that's the left-hand one, and I'll just explain on this car what is different in parts. You look at that physically and you go, oh yeah, it looks great. Look at the other one, and this is the trap you can fall into with these things, not knowing, and when parts just turn up for cars out of the blue, and they've been sent up, like we said, from a supplier in Melbourne. Now this is the right-hand one, and you go, okay, yeah, it looks the same. No, definitely not. You see here, on this particular model, on this car, they've actually bolted on the slider channel. And there it is there, the nut. That undoes. This channel will come away, and it looks like that. But there is no lip on the edge of the channel, to accept the actual slider or the nylon bush. But for whatever reason they've decided on this model, we'll make a separate channel. But you can see there, without this, there is no lip. That is what's providing the lip for that nylon bushes to run or slide in. So just little things like that, the traps you can fall into, and especially on these old cars, you can see here, if you look down in there, there should be a nylon guide or a bush that's gone, it's missing in action. And then I'll show you in this other one here, it's inside there still, it's still there. You can see there the nylon bush, and that's the guide for the glass to run up and down in. And you've got that both ends. But unfortunately, on this car, like everything, it's starting to become a bit of a job. Things are missing. Like I said, those are gone out of there. But that's the right hand one. This is the left hand one. And I'm now waiting for some guides to come. We've ordered those. And they're, ironically enough, they're only held in by a little tiny pop rivet. You can just see there. So I'm going to have to get those and put them in. But once I got through all that mission to make all that work, and suss what parts go where, then you get down to, right, now, on this car, what am missing? What do I need? So you end up with lots of bits and pieces that you have to suss through, work out what works on different cars. And on this particular window, once this piece, and like I said, I'm not sure what you call it, it's part of the reg or whatever, it slides on, the glass, it goes on, you've got your holes there, it's made up with these holes, front and back, so it slides on, like that. You've got your 4 mounting points or holes, and then you have the issue of, that's the screw that actually holds it on, you've got 4 of those, but then you have this problem, and you've got that massive amount of slop there. So then you have to have plastic or neoprene bushing that they had originally back in the day on these cars, and these were gone, there's nothing there, and you've got to kind of work out what you have and haven't got. So I've devised a bit of a plan over the last couple of days. I ended up with these little guys here. Now you've got the bits that need to go in the door glass, but then also inside this regulator they're quite a big hole as well. Now once the screw goes in there, same deal, you know it's going to slop around everywhere. You're not going to be able to line that window up. So I've come up with these little guys, and they now will go, I've got a little bit of you can see there, a little bit of a tab on the side of that. That will go from this side, after I've made up these new gaskets, that will go through that side. I'll die grind that out so it's a nice neat fit on that gasket. Push it in, and it'll clip into there. That'll take care of the issue with the slop in the reg. But then to find something exact right size for the door glass was another problem again. So I've had to come up with the right ID, inside diameter, for the screw on the little bushing, and also for the glass, a really nice neat fit. So what I did was I mucked around and come up with a plan, and it's a little bit of, you can find it here, that's it there, that's just a little off-cut. So basically what I did, they're truck airlines, they're a neoprene style airline, very hard but pliable still, won't crack, break or hurt the glass. So I got one size that fits inside the glass, the bigger one, and then to get a nice snug fit for this to fit in, I found this size, the smaller one, that fits perfectly in the bigger one. Then it accepts the screw perfect. Ends up a real good bush. By the time it's trimmed off, there's the end result. And now I've got my 2 nylon bushes, if you like. I've got the door glass one, and I've also got the regulator part. And trust me, it was frustrating to even work out what I had and what I didn't have for the car. So now I've done all that, we'll get it together, but I'll now clean these out a bit, so once these go in, it'll be nice and snug and it won't come off, and that's what I want. So I've got these little guys here, they end up on the other side of the door glass, they pick all this up and the screws, and once you tighten it all up, there's no play on these door glasses on this car, and that's the plan, that's what I needed to do. But to get this far and make it a really decent job, it's been a bit of work and frustrating and a lot of time wasted in research, but anyway, it's worked out. So I'll get on with it now. I'll die grind these little pieces or these little areas out so I can get those little bushings in. And then the same deal, I've got to make some more for the door glasses for the car. And then once it's all on, then I've got to put it back in, line it all up, and then I can go ahead, once I've got the door glass in, then position my door with all my door rubbers. So on this car, it's been a mission, it has, but I'm nearly there with it. Right, so I need a die grinder and some air, and we'll clean this out a little bit and carry on. That's my airline. I'll clamp that to the bench. I don't want that moving around while I'm doing this. Clamp is here in amongst all this junk. There's stuff everywhere at the moment. It's been full on. And it's got to be, bear in mind that I keep that covered. I don't want to scratch that glass at all. That's super critical. But, it's taken a bit of time for this to come right on the car, but I'm pretty happy. I'm in the position now where I can actually start to reassemble stuff. But to try and get this far, yeah, it's been a very slow process. The other thing was too with the gasket paper on this car, it has to be a weatherproof thing that's going to last for a long time, because that sandwiches up against that door glass and you do not want that to compress down and become sloppy or flake away. So get it right. Done a lot of research to get this. It's a special composite type gasket, and it's hard to find, but when you're doing things like this on especially door glasses on cars, you need to have it right, because once you've done all this, the pressure's always on there when you wind a window up and down, so I wanted it correct. So once going forward with the job on the car, I want it right. Got a little way to go yet. I'm just going to take my time here. I want this nice and accurate. These are the things you run into when you do resto work on some of these cars. It's just what it is. You can't get bits. Now I want these things to be absolutely a perfect fit. I don't want any play, slop, and I want these things to last for a long time. Now, as I said, these little guys here, they're meant for door glasses, but not this particular one. So I've improvised, I've made them work for this job, but I believe they're going to be an excellent fit when they're all in it and tightened up. They should be a real good thing. It takes time sometimes to get stuff to work. Frustrating on some cars. That's just life, I'm afraid, in the resto game. And that's going to work out really well, that. It's going to work a treat. So I don't need to take any more out of that. Now I've got to get those little tabs down through there. So I'll need to go and get a little pick or something so I can press those little legs in a bit so she just slots in the way I want it. Alright, so I'll go and find something for that. Right, that little screwdriver should work for me there. I really would like a little pick or an awl or something to do that. Somewhere in the shop at the moment. Beautiful, just clipped in there, perfect. I've checked the other side. And before I flip it over, you can see what it's all about, because now I've got exact fit and position for that screw when it goes through my bush I've made here on the actual door glass itself. So this car, those windows will last for a long time because you've got the nylon bushing there, basically the same deal there, no slop, perfectly aligned, and when that window winds up and down, there'll be none of this. It'll wind up, seal, sit beautiful. And I'll just rely on my other few adjustments I have in the door as to where it sits when it's on the car. But this to me at the moment is crucial, and I want that beautiful perfect fit, and that's what it will be now. It's like everything, no pain, no gain, and it has been painful, but now I'll get some real good gain out of this. So I'll just show you here quickly how this works. Right, so there's the hole. That now slides on, will align with the hole, with the screw, and this side, it's as simple as that. The screw goes in there like so, through the glass, and the other side of it picks up onto that, which is a gasket with that little metal pushed, pressed washer if you like. Tightens up, no movement. It's got no, how would you say, stress on the glass because it's got a big gasket to hold all that in place. Then these 4 gaskets either side where it picks up on the mounting points. So it's a perfect setup in the end, like I said, but to work it all out and suss it and to get it to work's taken some frustration, but I'm happy now, we're good to go. So now carry on, I'll make some more little, of these little guys, these little bushes that I've made up if you like, and that's what I've done there. You can see there's my little example. That's how it was. I've hammered that hose down inside that hose, and that's a beautiful snug fit, and that's my end result, and it fits in the door glass like it's meant to be there. It's beautiful. Alright, so you've seen me now today with the window mechanisms on the car and all the door stuff. So tomorrow if you come back and watch me, I'll have the door glasses fitting in or fitted up, and we'll just see how well and truly they wind up and down, how smooth everything operates. But they're good now to go, and on this car I think it's going to be a beautiful fit up when it's done. So thanks for watching this one, and we'll be back on tomorrow or the following day, but hopefully tomorrow, just depending how busy we get. We get a bit snowed under sometimes with cars, and restos take a lot of time. So alright, check us out tomorrow, but thank you for watching, we'll see you then.